What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here again. It is NFL recap. It's going to be week 2 recap. We got one bet each for tonight's Monday Night Football game. Pretty good game. We got the Eagles and the Falcons. As always, joined by my guy Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Week 2 was fun for me. It was like a lot of effort that resulted in like plus 0.25 unit. You know what I mean? So I ended up a quarter unit. That's better than being obviously in the red. But, you know, just a fun week, obviously. I talked about it a lot. I was super pumped for these games. We got a crazy week as well. I mean, Upset City. Survivor, I know, killed a lot of people. Thankfully, me and my Steelers are still in it, baby. We survived this week, going a little bit against the grain, and it ended up working because holy shit. I mean, the chalk absolutely came crumbling down. So it was fun, man. I enjoyed the games a lot, and I just tweeted it out. But I think this game actually sneakily is really good for props. So we're going to get into all that and, you know, go through the game and answer all the questions people have, all that fun stuff. But yeah, great week. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is pretty loaded today. I do like this slate. With these ones I'm playing, I tell you guys when anybody asks me about DFS for a single game, I'd much rather play the prime time where it's Monday and Thursday. So I get 2 games because 1 game slates are so fucking tough, like rolling with those. But it's gonna be a fun slate. I do have a lot of stuff that I do like in this game. But again, we get to Monday. A lot of stuff has been bet quite a bit. So that's why, obviously, you guys come here, and hopefully we can get to you a little bit of an edge here on this slate. And we can get right up into the recap for week 2. Let's roll it up. I think I went first on there. My first one there. Jets, race to 20. Woo, that was fucking sweaty, bro. God damn, that was sweaty. Hey, throw up the W, though. Shout out to my Wisconsin Badger. Shout out Braylon Allen, the 20-year-old Badger, putting out for that, man. Breece Hall still got there. If you're a fantasy owner, Breece Hall, he still got his 20. But Breece Hall, I'm in a fantasy league, like I told you, with our couple friends from around here. And my guy that he's a Badger fan, but he loves the Bears. So he's from Illinois, but he's a Badger fan. So he drafted fucking Breece Hall, or not Breece Hall. He drafted Braylon Allen early. Like, he drafted him in, like, the 7th round just to have him and has all Bears. And, dude, he got, like, 25 points and touched the ball, like, 8 times. So he's actually playing pretty well. But, yeah, the Titans put up a little fight there. I was not expecting that. But if you had the Jets defense in fantasy like I do in every league, they still put up a big boy number because they get the sacks. They don't give up much yardage, and they turn you over, man. And that's kind of what we expect from them. What a difference a week makes for the Jets just putting on an absolute clinic defensively. And the Niners just getting their fucking ass beat by Minnesota. Like, man, what a difference 6 days makes. Because everybody had San Francisco on top of the world. Jordan Mason's a fantasy league winner. And, yeah, he did well. But, dude, the Niners just, my God, just took an absolute – we'll talk about that in the recap of the week. But just had to put that out there because, God, it's fucking awesome to see the Niners lose. I just love that. We'll kick it over to yours. We'll do your winner here.
Yep, Malik Willis under 167 passing yards. It was never really sweaty. I mean, the game was confusing. Like, it was so fucking confusing. They're blowing them out so they don't have to throw. Like, who knew that was going to be the case? Obviously, but had 25 yards after the first. Like, it was relatively sweat free. We cashed the alternate unders as well at 145, so that was nice. I mean, but Willis, you got to give him credit too. He looked better than we expected. He kind of did everything LaFleur asked, and I mean, I don't know what LaFleur Coach of the Year is. I can try to check that right now. But that's it's probably plus 100 now. And it should be because the guy he deserved the running scheme in that game was masterful. Like, it was beautiful. All the different combinations of runs, mixing it up, bringing in Lloyd to think the defense had a chance. And then Lloyd's going for 14. Like, they destroyed them. They made the Colts look silly. And it was only on the ground. There was barely even a threat of passing. So got to give coaching staff credit. Got to give Willis credit for looking very good. But hey, at the end of the day, we still cashed our bet pretty easily. So it worked out for all of us. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I bet my Packers. You know I was going to. I bet them. They were my dog. 3 points. Gave me a plus 140. Got a nice little doggy ticket there. So I felt really good about that. a little bit nervous, and then I'm like, oh, defense going to show out here. And I saw Richardson was just struggling, dude. He was just having a tough time. And I had a lot of friends and family out at Lambeau yesterday, and it was rocking, dude. It was fucking rocking. Who would have thought they'd be rocking out there for Malik Willis in their first game out there? But shout out to, like you said, LaFleur being an absolute dog. Man, it was a hell of a game. I didn't get to watch it, obviously. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, yeah, it was an incredible game. I'm so mad about this one because Amon-Ra absolutely cooked. But what the fuck happened in your game and in this game? No one can punch in tutties, bro. Like, it's just field goals galore. Like, I think there was 3 field goals in the first quarter of this one. There was, 6 field goals by the Washington kicker yesterday, right? It was 6. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was. But, my God, dude, just punching the end zone. I was feeling great when they were moving right down the field on, like, the 10-yard line. Now, obviously, Jared Goff does what Jared Goff does and turns the fucking ball over in the red zone. That would have put them up. I was going to feel great because Baker was only needed like 40 yards. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going to get a minute and a half of Baker running that 2-minute drill, just chucking that thing around. And Jared Goff shows why the Lions ain't ever going to win a Super Bowl, bro. They ain't ever going to win one, bro.
I need to rewatch this game bad because I have no clue what happened. I was just box score watching, and I mean, like the Bucs were leading the whole time. I don't know. It was like
they were beating them bad, dude. Like,
yeah,
they would not let them score a touchdown.
It was just seemingly from everything I saw a disgusting game. So yeah, Amon-Ra, 19 targets or something crazy like that in the end. It was I need to fully see what the hell went on here because obviously my next one with Rachaad White also lost here. I mean, the whole thing was kind of based on a trailing game script, and they were not trailing this game at all. Like you said, they were beating their ass for a good portion in this game. And Rachaad White, I mean, the guy's going to lose his job really soon. Unfortunately, I should have paired it with under rushing yards because that's what we did all the time last year. But it was one of those things where the line got bet down so quickly. I was kind of like low 40s, like, that might be too low. But the guy can't even crack 20. Like, I mean, Bucky Irving's going to take his job quicker than we thought. So, you know, if you have Rachaad White in fantasy, I would try to get like whatever you can for him. Like legitimately, like start looking at like above average backups or something because it's gonna get real rough, I think, pretty soon.
Bro, I'm feeling so good about my fucking Baker exposure right now. And my 40+% Bucky Irving that I could grab at like 220. He was going like 220, dude. I bet just because I made so much money on him in college, I had to take him. He could have been, his numbers weren't great at combine, but my God, he looks so much better. He looks so explosive, dude, and every time he's out there. And maybe Rachaad White is the in-between the tackles runner now, and he does his 3-yard carries that he always does when he runs behind people. But, I mean, why wouldn't you give the passing to the guy who can make people miss? Like, Bucky Irving can make people miss. You get the opportunity to throw that ball down the field with Mike Evans. Like, Mike Evans didn't do shit in this game. Chris Godwin went for like 30 points in the first half and then didn't do shit in the second half, right? Luckily for me, Baker got that rushing touchdown at the end to save my fantasy day because Baker was very exposed in mine. But let's kind of recap the week. Like, there's a lot to talk about here. I love me some Daniel Jones, baby. Fuck, man, Daniel Jones. Every Daniel Jones lineup that I played in DFS this week won me some paper. That boy was like the second lowest quarterback out there in price. Paired him with Neighbors and everyone. I had a couple of doubles with Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson. But, Mike, I think the worst part was obviously they lost. But the fact that Devin Singletary is averaging fucking 6 yards a pop on this Washington front, like maybe Washington can't stop anything. And now I have to kind of rethink that they're just going to pass every time because I don't even know if they're a pass funnel now because they couldn't stop a shit line blocking for Devin Singletary, who's old.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. They're just bad in general. You know what I mean? Let's see. What did he end up? 16 for 95. Yeah,
he was cooking, dude. I'm like, why is this guy getting 16 carries? I think his line was like 11.
Because I was watching the game. Singletary didn't feel like that impactful during the game, though, to me personally. It really did just feel like Washington was just kind of terrible all across the board. But, I mean, going forward, like, are they less of a pass funnel, more just whoever's the best player is going to destroy them?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe. I could definitely see that. I think, though, like, you still do have that. If it's like it's tough to say, but if it's like an outside rusher, I'd like them more. If it's more of like a David Montgomery grinder in the middle, that's where Washington's still good. But if you can kind of hit the outside, but like you said, Singletary, he's not good either, even though his advanced stats last year were like okay. They were a little better than you'd expect. Like, I don't know. It's just a brutal team, man. And they're going to be the thing about running backs against Washington is even if they're not efficient, there's going to be volume. They're going to be ahead all year long. They're going to be in the lead, right? Which means more touches in general. So maybe long receptions for receivers and carries overs for running backs going forward.
Yeah, I want to obviously get into a couple other of these spots in here, but I do want to bring up one other thing for Washington is you kind of got to downgrade all of these fucking receivers, man. Like Terry McLaurin.
God.
But I will say one positive thing is I might bench Terry McLaurin in my fantasy league this next week and start Austin Eckler because that boy does his thing, bro. This dude gets it. I watched probably about 5-10 minutes of this game, right? But my God, it's just like Eckler just gets so much dump offs. I think this coaching staff would be like, "Hey, Daniels, if you're passing the ball, pass the damn ball. I don't need to see you run and slide head first every time." Slide feet first of all, Jaden Daniels. You're fucking 150 pounds, bro. Slide feet first. But if you're going to tell him not to run as much, Austin Eckler is the absolute perfect running back to have for this dude. He might be getting my starts. Unfortunately for him, I have Bijan and Alvin Kamara in that league, so he's got to be my flex. And Kamara put up a nice old 50 piece. We'll talk about the Saints in a sec. But, man, Austin Eckler might be that dude, man. He might be that guy.
Yeah, the problem is he just doesn't – he needs to play, like, a little bit more. Like, Eckler's, like, barely out there. And then he comes in and he plays really well, and then they take him out immediately. Like, it's been, like, back-to-back games. But also, to be fair to Brian Robinson, he's also playing really well right now.
Yeah,
like, he broke off a couple long runs. So, I agree with you. Eckler, like, looks sharp. Like, he looks really low last year. If you ever, just – watched him play at all last year, look up the highlights, they weren't good. He looks slow. This year he looks in much better shape. So it's just kind of about snaps. Like, can he get out there more? Because the second they go down by a touchdown or two, Eckler immediately comes back out and catches like 4 checkdowns. So definitely agree with that. Whenever they're going to be underdogs by like 7 points or more, I think Eckler is like a must bet. Because you didn't go super into detail, but you mentioned it. Cliff Kingsbury had like one of the most insane game plans through 2 weeks. They barely thrown the ball past 10 yards. They've got him on like the Bryce Young playbook, which is kind of crazy because if you watch him at college, he was the opposite. He never checked the ball down. He either chucked it 50 yards down the field or tried to run. Those were his problems. He was like a home run hitter, and now they're turning him into like some weird like mega check down guy, which I know they're trying to protect him. I get that. But like, man, it's not really working. The guy still takes off like 20 times a game. So we'll see. He worries me a lot. All year, I compared him to RG3 in the sense that I just don't think he can stay healthy. And he actually broke RG3's record for carries from a quarterback in 2 games. It's even more. I think it's the most of all time. So we just got to tone that down. Like, the guy's going to get killed. Like you said, he slides head first, and he's literally a toothpick. Like, if you look up this kid's Arizona State freshman year, like, photo, you'll die laughing, realizing he made it to the NFL. So it's crazy. I'm very worried for his health this year.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it a second ago. Just a guy on my team here put up a 50-piece, the highest score so far this year, and that's Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdowns, looked explosive, 50-yard catch, put up 3 rushing touchdowns, averaging over 5 yards a carry against this Dallas defense. Are the Saints real, or is this Dallas Dallas is not that good?
I think they're real because Dallas made Deshaun Watson look absolutely awful. And then Deshaun came back and actually looked like a human again, right? So to me, that showed that, like, okay, they made him look terrible. Obviously, they got Parsons. They've got some guys. I mean, my theory with the Saints was like, here's what's going to happen. The Saints are going to get crushed. They're going to get destroyed. And then we can buy high or buy low on them, right, after they've looked terrible. Because what happened is they hired a new offensive coordinator in Kubiak, who we touched on a little bit. He brought them from a team that played the least motion, the least play action in the league to now top 3 in both of those categories through 2 weeks. So you're looking at an offense that's been totally reinvigorized, right, from a guy from that, like, Shanahan tree, kind of known in those systems. He was with the San Francisco as the passing game coordinator in the past. Like, man, Shaheed, back-to-back 70-yard bombs. Dude, Shaheed, longest reception, 18.5, was the first thing I sent in the 4for4 channel. It's like, what do you guys think about this? And I got too scared. I was worried about the corners. I was worried they were going to get crushed. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to wait till next week. And now there's no way that line's under like 22 next week because, oh my God, like the downfield action has been so good for the Saints. So I'm buying it. I'm definitely buying it. I mean, Derek Carr's still the quarterback, but like if there was a team to make Derek Carr look terrible, like the Cowboys are a team exactly fit to do that. So I'm not saying you go and treat the Saints like a top 5 team or anything, but you gotta definitely put some respect on the name, especially on that offense.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at it. I'm like, Kamara, like he's in the Millie Maker lineup at like 2%. Because who the fuck's playing Kamara against freaking Dallas outside of year-long fantasies? So that one obviously was another big one that I wanted to talk about because my God, dude, like I looked at that score and just did not believe it at all.
Yeah.
Also, last one before we kind of get into today's stuff, or actually 2. First, Jacksonville's fucking shit, bro.
Oh.
That team sucks. Oh. First, I gotta get that out there. We'll talk about it. That team sucks. New England's not how is New England competing in these games, bro? Like they're competing against these. I mean, I get it with Seattle and they won last week against the Bengals, but the Bengals look good. Like the Bengals look fine against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, right? So it's like there's that, and then San Francisco, right? So you picked yours, but I want to hear what you got to say. Obviously, I'll throw my 2 cents in there, but I mean those are 3 other things I thought we had to talk about, or at least have some sort of discussion about, because New England came back all the way back. Hunter Henry had 17 targets, bro. He was going crazy. Christian Kirk had negative receiving yards against his Browns team. He plays Buffalo next week. Then you got Minnesota at home. Just that game wasn't competitive, bro. It got closer than what it looked like in the actual game because they should have lost by more than fucking 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Minnesota one can be summed up. I don't know if you saw that clip of Brock Purdy just going up to Brian Flores after the game, and it's him going, "Man, your scheme is crazy." Like those are his exact words. And I think it's true. Like anyone that's watched the show or has read my stuff, yeah, we love Brian Flores over here. Like with the creativity and everything. So, I mean, I think we all kind of knew that Minnesota's defense would be legit. The real question mark was Sam Darnold. And he's proven Sammy's slinging it, guys. He's looking really fucking good out there, which game 1 against the Giants, okay, whatever. You can't look away from this game. This is against a team that's slowed down explosive plays at an extreme rate over these last couple of years. And the first thing they do is dialing up deep bombs to Justin Jefferson for 95-yard touchdown catches. Just a crazy game from them. So definitely Minnesota. The big question is what just happens when Minnesota's down. We haven't seen them there yet. What happens when you're down a touchdown, maybe down 10 points? You can't really have that balanced offense. Everybody knows Sam Darnold's going to throw it, and everybody knows it's probably going to Justin Jefferson. So it's kind of how can we then move on from there? The Patriots is still a mystery to me, man. How they're playing these games close. We both gave Jacoby Brissett credit. He's a good game manager, blah, blah, blah. But to actually stay competitive with the Seahawks like that, I think it probably tells us the Seahawks are really missing Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet came in. Charbonnet has not averaged over 3 yards per carry in his 3 starts so far. He's not been efficient on the ground. Dude, his carries last game, yesterday morning, 17.5 is what it opened at. And then his yards were only 60. So off the bat, the books were already kind of tell you we're a little bit worried about his efficiency in general. But, man, he dominated RB touches and did absolutely nothing with them. So I don't know how to feel about the Seahawks without Kenneth Walker. I think he's obviously going to be a guy we need to look to kind of ASAP when he comes back. But, yeah, the shout out to the Patriots defense. They're doing something right now.
Yeah, they're playing the ball, man. That's what I'm saying. They're just coming out and finding a way to keep these games close. Yeah, Jacksonville, I pretty much I'm benching Christian Kirk till Trevor Lawrence looks like a capable offense.
Dude,
running 80 yards first half again.
Yeah, I had Gabe Davis, and he cashed my longest reception. That was the first prop I gave out last week. First one. I loved it. All these great stats, blah, blah, blah. He cashes on the last drive of the game, one of the last throws. It was one of the worst watches in the game I can remember. They just looked awful, and I don't know what to do with the Jaguars. The only other one I wanted to touch on before, too, because we got your dog of the day. We got my dog of the day. So the Raiders, baby, outright. Gardner Minshew. What did I tell you guys? We watched that Chargers game. A lot of people came out with, I think, the wrong opinion. But, if Brock Bowers and Devontae Adams have a quarterback that can just like give them a check down and their defense has Max Crosby and he stays healthy, like they're going to be in games at least. They might not win games. They might not look good. In fact, it's going to look disgusting most of the time. But like the Raiders are just like a good, ugly, like they're going to be like 7-9 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be amazing, but they're going to stick in games and hopefully keep covering spread. So that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, also, Bo Nix is terrible. That's the last take. I mean, I tried to warn you guys. Bo Nix, Bryce Young, they're in the unbettable category. Like, just don't, no matter how many points your model is telling you they're worth, ignore that shit. Those guys are very unbettable right now.
Bro, I am feeling amazing about just, I bet, dude, they gave me Bo Nix completion 17.5 yesterday, minus 135. Like, I wasn't even sweating. He had 7 in the first half. I'm like, they're down 7, bro. What are they going to do? Like, what is going to happen here? Bo ended up with like 20, just in 120 yards. Like, it's just, it was awesome. Like, it was like I hate him. It's like one of those bets you have to make every week and just not watch the game until they move it up to 20 and a half. Like, crazy that they're giving me 18 and a half at like minus 130. I'm like, all right, yeah, all right. And I looked at it at the end of the game. Nice, 20. And it's like, I looked at the first half. I'm like, how the hell did we get here?
It's great. It's easy when half of them are behind the line of scrimmage. Like,
it's so dude. It's so fast. It's so fast.
But hey, it feels good to hate a guy, not hate, but hate on him, you know, talk negatively about him for like 4 years. And then it finally come to fruition when he comes to the NFL and he sucks just exactly. Like, people like fed themselves this Kool-Aid that like, oh, the system, short passes. You remember Drew Brees? It's like, you guys are crazy for putting Bo Nix in the same conversation as Drew Brees. Like, this guy sucks. He's always sucked. He had to run away from the SEC for a reason. He got hidden in a great offense, got some good recognition, snuck his way into the NFL, and now he looks exactly like he did back in the SEC. He fucking sucks. So good luck, Bo Nix. I'm not, not wishing anything negative against you, but let's just keep betting on the guy, keep making some money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's check out the chat. We'll get to the best bets that we have coming today. We got Klepp in here. Perfect time and having some lunch, enjoying the show. Love to see it. Love to see you guys popping in here. Hey, Baker, baby. Let's go, Baker. We love to see that. Godwin didn't. Yeah, he didn't get anything in the second half. At our local book, which this is referred to as Bet Rivers, Pato's like what they use the Canby, which is Bet Rivers. 1,500 to be coach of the year, bro. Like, fuck, I might have to take a little bit of my money there because, goddamn, dude. If the Packers win the division, bro, with Jordan Love missing more than 2 or 3 games, especially with how good the Lions are, especially how good Sam Darnold is now, I guess. And obviously, we love to see the Bears at the bottom. That's what we like to see. Because, my God, dude. Thank God I didn't watch that game last night. I was in the car. Luckily, I didn't have to watch that Caleb Williams game last night. But, yeah, shout out to CJ Stroud doing his thing, bro.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And I want some of that LaFleur Coach of the Year, too. That's a good call. I think I'm going to toss, like, a free bet if I've got some somewhere because I see the vision. LaFleur's, like, a really good coach. I don't know why he would be that high in the market.
Anyway, like, even at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I'm not sure who else stands out more. Like, Shanahan just took the loss. He always is in contention. I think Mike McDonald was a guy I like for the Seahawks. But like he didn't look amazing in this one either. Like I don't know why you wouldn't take LaFleur. I think that's good value. I'm definitely gonna do that when we hop off here.
Wow, I'm on it right now. 1,500 at DK still. Guess who's first?
I don't even know. Is it like D'Amico Ryans or something after yesterday?
D'Amico Ryans is 13 to 1.
I have no clue who's first. Sean McVay? No, he just got his ass kicked.
No, it's fucking shit, bro. Because it's just a hype show of fucking. It's a Harbaugh. What the fuck, dude? They're gonna suck ass. Well, betting him at the lowest odds right now is probably the worst bet of all time.
Yeah, I don't know why we would deserve that at all. Like you beat 2 bad teams. I don't know. That's
and not saying this as it's going to happen again. But you have the 2 most injury-prone running backs of all time that you're riding 30 carries to 35 carries a game, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what do you – I mean, not saying it's going to happen again, but, like, if you're going to give both – like, I saw J.K. Dobbins had another, 20-carry game. Gus Edwards had 18 carries last game. Like, they're just running these dudes into the ground, and then obviously Herbert has to throw, like, twice. But man, dude, it's kind of scary. Like,
dude, these odds are fucking insane. I've just opened them up. Even beyond what I completely agree with you. Kevin O'Connell is the only guy that he's 800. That makes perfect sense. That's good. Mike McDonald 700. I like him. That's a little aggressive. We've got fucking Gerard Mayo and Dennis Allen above him. I mean, Dennis Allen, guys. Okay, the Saints have won, and maybe I'm wrong for giving so much credit to the offensive coordinator. There's no way this dumb fuck is going to win. There's no way.
He's a terrible coach.
Dennis Allen's going to make like 80 stupid decisions that take away. He's going to do an Antonio Pierce punt where everyone yells at him for like 3 weeks. Like, that guy is not going to win. Gerard Mayo and the Patriots, that's an even crazier bet. Like, what is the upside for the Patriots with Jacoby Brissett? Your only hope is that Drake May comes in and is really good, and maybe that elevates him. Like, some of these names above it, Eberflus. Why is Eberflus above the floor? What have we just seen? I mean, I don't know. This is crazy to me. I don't know what LaFleur did to be this far down. I like Gannon above it. Like, not above him, but I like Gannon as well in that range with the Cardinals after what he just did yesterday. But I don't know. There's a lot of silly names at the top right now. Harbaugh, I would absolutely never bet, like you said. And then Allen and Mayo being up there as well are pretty crazy. So definitely going to take a little bit of LaFleur at 15-1.
Yeah, I mean, a lot worse bets out there than that one. You know what I mean? So. Man, all right. Let's get it going, Stu. We'll get off our soapbox there, but yeah, hey, shout out LaFleur. If he gets another win with fucking Malik Willis, bro, like, fuck. My God, everybody literally called him the worst quarterback ever, and that boy went out there and looked good. He looked actually good. Not like stats wise, but like they controlled that fucking game, bro.
Yeah. I mean, also maybe the Colts are a little league team, but you know,
I don't know. That was fucking garbage, bro. That was bad. Like, Josh Jacobs had 28 carries.
Oh, what an insane game!
Stop giving me limited tags, bro. If you're gonna fucking play 30 carries, bro. Like, that was my only issue is he limited? And then I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, he does this all the time. I'm like, what the fuck? How can you just then don't say anything? Don't say he's questionable and shit. Just say, oh, he didn't practice. He's gonna play.
And then, of course, Reed is the one that's actually limited. Like, of course.
Exactly. So that number should have went way lower, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that number should have went way lower than that. Because I was getting 170. I bet your bet at 169.5. I'm like, how's it going up if Reed's limited? Whatever. Yeah. Let's go. Let's get it.
All right, baby. We're going to the Eagles right now. We're going to Monday Night Football, which I have already called Thursday Night Football like 3 times. So we're going to try to not do that anymore. I love this matchup tonight. I think this is actually going to be a sneaky good game for props, especially kind of like the chalky ones that I normally absolutely hate on. I feel like every primetime game, people just bet the 3 biggest names in order based on who they know from fantasy or whatever. But I think that actually is going to work today for a lot of people because we have an Eagles team that is down their best wide receiver, their best weapon, in A.J. Brown. And when you look at it, they really don't have the depth to compensate, like, at all. Because I love Devonta Smith. I played him real early in the week at 4.5 receptions, like right when A.J. Brown was still in, before there were any even practice news, because I love his new role, right? Devonta, I was kind of questioning, is he really going to play in the slot as much as people think? Yes, that's the answer. That is clearly the answer. I even ranted about it a little last week, but he's there. He's like kind of going to be the full-time guy. But now your plans are going to have to inevitably change a little bit when you lose your number one on the outside. I would expect him probably to be a little bit more on the outside again. The guy going on the other side of him is Jahan Dotson. I've watched more Jahan Dotson than anyone else. Like, I get that a player suddenly becomes better when you can just add former first-round pick next to it and you just make your sentence sound better because you add, a positive attribute. But and everyone drafted in the first round by Rivera is gone. Like, he obviously known for reaching Emmanuel Forbes, all these kind of guys. Like, Jahan Dotson was a borderline first round pick in that draft anyway. But when we talk about talent, it's him and it's Johnny Wilson, who, if you watch Johnny Wilson at Florida, Florida State, one of those two, the dude is like 6'5". He looks like a tight end. He's absolutely humongous. His only problem is he can't catch the ball. He's like one of the most raw prospects in the draft. Like, he's a great athlete. He looks like kind of the DK Metcalf formula is what people compared him to, of like, he's just huge. He's absolutely huge, and he's fast in a straight line. So they've got him, and they've got Jahan Dotson, and they've got Devonta Smith. Like, to me, this offense profiles as a team that's really going to miss that number one option. So what did they do last week? Well, they ran the ball 24 times with Saquon Barkley, and then they ran the ball an additional 13 times with Jalen Hurts. So they showed in week one, before they were even dealing with injuries, an ability to really lean into the running game and kind of let that take over. Now you're down your number one option, who now Devonta Smith is going to be facing AJ Terrell, most likely, who's one of the better cover corners, consistently above average to, very good corner on the outside. I'm just struggling to see where you make up for this offense. Like, I'm struggling to see who comes forward and takes over. I think what happens is they really lean into their rush game. And in week one, he went over this number in designed runs alone. He had 10 designed runs last week. He only averaged 6.3 last season. If you remember, we did bet on Hurts rush attempts a couple times last week, but that was with the information that he was injured. He was legit injured. He was bothered. They barely ran in the second half of the year. I think this number would probably be opening at 10.5 if we didn't have all that data and we just saw game one, because we saw him at 10 design runs. He was way more involved in the read option game. Kellen Moore talked about it in the offseason. We want to get this guy, his legs involved. It's a big part of him as a player. Immediately in the preseason, we saw great read option usage. We saw great rushing usage in the preseason. Everything's been pointing to more Hurts rushing. And now we're here, and we saw him run more in game one. Who did this team face a week ago? Who did the Falcons face? Justin Fields, who had 14 runs himself, 10 designed runs in that game. We've seen that this works. They got them an upset win, and I think it'll be a big part of their game plan again today. So I like Hurts rushing. When you look around and you try to think, who's going to make up for that extra production, try to tell me Jahan Dotson is going to be that guy, or Johnny Wilson, these backup wide receivers. They don't have the depth there. I could see Dallas Goedert being more involved, but also you'd think, okay, well, maybe they'll play a ton of 12 personnel. They don't have another good tight end. The Colin McCarr guy, I don't know how to say is he's just a nobody, a random blocking tight end. You know what I mean? A dime a dozen. So if they're one of these teams like the Brock Bowers, the Michael Mayer, or your Austin Hooper is your number two, you have a real number two tight end that can catch passes. Maybe you get a little bit intimidating in 12 personnel. They're just going to be running out of 12. It's just going to be a run-heavy game. Saquon's going to dominate, and Hurts is going to dominate as well. And I think it's pretty game script proof. If you're losing, this is perfect. We get Hurts rush attempts. If you're winning, I still think, just like we saw last week, they're still going to lean into those design rush attempts. So I love Hurts right here. I think it's going to be a very run-heavy game. I think Hurts is going to be a big part of it.
Yes, sir. I know you just mentioned my guy there a little bit earlier there, and I'm going with Goddard. I'm going with Goddard 3 catches. Saquon over 80 rushing plus receiving. This is FanDuel exclusively. Obviously, they weren't offering this on DraftKings, so got to get over on FanDuel to lock this bad boy in. I love this spot, man. Goddard obviously on the field a ton last week. I think it was 80%. I'm expecting that closer to 100% of snaps this week because kind of have to. I don't really know what else you're going to do here to fill that role of A.J. Brown, because Goddard is one of those elite guys who can block and can catch passes and has great yard after the catch ability. Obviously been there a while as well, so that doesn't hurt as well. But 3 catches. We just saw Freiermuth get 4 catches last game. I know the Falcons allowed the 4th most receiving yards of tight ends last year, if you want to use that. And they have elite safeties. I love Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is a fucking he's a fucking dude, man. So good. But he ain't gonna come down and guard Goddard, bro. You're just gonna have the guy over the top on Devontae Smith. You kind of have to at this point, because he would have been on Brown. Now you have one option. He ain't gonna be over the top of Jahan Dotson, bro. I think the underneath routes are gonna be the spots. Obviously, I love Saquon tonight as well. I know you talked about it there. Saquon, I mean, my Packers defense is not great. They're good, but they're not great. They nullified Jonathan Taylor yesterday, and the Colts on that spot. Saquon just tore through him, right? And I think that this is probably one of the best receiving backs that Hurts has had in his time there. If you want to use, I mean, you can pretty much do anything, but Saquon's getting so many touches. You look at his line today, it's 17.5 rush attempts is his number there. You look at some of these other lines, dude, if you're going to give him 20 opportunities, you're telling me he's not going to be able to put up 4 yards a touch? That's pretty baffling to me. I look at his lines here today already. His receptions lines at 3 catches at minus 145 to the over, over 2.5. I'm getting 3 catches 18 carries is what they're assuming. So I'm getting 20 touches from this dude against this Falcons defense. I'm expecting a lot of missed tackles today from that Falcons team here. So I love Saquon. I think the Goddard spot is the spot that, like I said, I couldn't find on any other book. I'm going to buy down to 3 and get this number. But, yeah, Calcaterra is what Trade Cypher is. I'm pretty sure it's Calcaterra is how you say it, but that's a weird one.
I'm just going fully from memory, so
yeah, I don't even think he can block, honestly. I don't even think he can block. I think he's usually used in the. He might, dude. If you're looking at a long, I might take him and score a tutty, bro.
Hell no,
dude. He can't block like that. That's not what he's there for. He's there to fucking catch passes. Like,
who the fuck even is that guy? Grant.
Yeah, that's their
from SMU. I didn't even watch this guy in college. Like,
That's the only reason I remember him because I bet on SMU all the fucking time.
Okay, well there you go. Of course you did. You know, I've been regular.
Dude, you know why? Because those are like the only games you can get on ESPN Plus. You don't get any of the good games. You get all the shit games, and they have SMU. And obviously, I was an SMU guy from Rashi Rice as well because Rashi Rice was there. I bet SMU all the fucking time. So Goddard 3 catches, Saquon 80 receiving, -129. Felt like this should be a lot lower, like -150. So, any thoughts on Goddard or anything here before we move on?
No, I like this play a lot, and I actually really like you mentioning Bates. Bates is one of the best guys in space. He normally plays very deep. He's kind of known for kind of eliminating the explosive play. And when you actually watch the post-game conference, he's so impactful that Arthur Smith literally said, like, our goal was to not let your game breaker win. We had our game breaker, who is TJ Watt, win, and they said we don't want your game breaker to win. And that comparing Watt to Bates is like from a coach to coach standpoint is pretty crazy, but it just shows you how scared the Steelers were in that kind of deeper over the middle realm of the field. So I actually am very glad you brought that up. I think that's a good point. It just shows you how impactful he is, how kind of I would say like respected he is among coaching staffs, because that tells you what they're going to do with their game plan, how they're going to manage this game. And I think he's going to be a big part of that. So a lot of check downs, a lot of, hey, are you going to chuck it 40 down the field in double coverage? Or are you going to maybe hit Saquon? Or are you maybe going to take it off yourself? I think we're going to see him do those things. So our plays are kind of similar. I think we're both seeing like a pretty similar game script. And I already told you before the show, but I agree. I think Saquon has a fantastic game. So I really like this combo right here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Always happy to be on the same page there. Let's do a quick recap and we'll get a roll.
Sounds good. I also did, let's see. We got Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rush attempts at -120.
And I'll be rolling Dallas Goddard. 3 catches, Saquon 80. Rushing plus receiving over on FanDuel. I do not have a long shot as of yet. Maybe it's that Calcaterra touchdown, bro.
It's 14-1. That's actually pretty good. I can't lie. He even had a catch last game as well before.
I'm telling you right now, that dude is not out there to block. That boy could not block me, bro. He's out there to fucking catch passes.
Anytime that I've shit-talked a random long shot, they always go off. So me calling that guy absolute garbage like that, I might have just given you a free 14-1 right there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's just – it sucks because if I do a one of those smaller slates for Monday through Thursday, it sucks because there's so many tight ends. You got Henry, you got obviously Pitts and Goddard tonight. So it's like, damn, dude, that's 3 good ones. Pretty good there. So do you have a long shot, Stu, that you were looking at?
I do. It's not too dissimilar from yours as well. I pulled the trigger on Saquon Barkley, 125 rush yards. It was okay. The odds went down a little bit. Let's see. It was plus 700 on Bet365 earlier. Now it's 550, which is a little annoying.
So you want to be 550?
Yeah, we'll do that. Or actually, do 120 plus 550 then, because that's what Caesars has. So we'll do that instead. But yeah, so over 120 at plus 550. So you kind of covered it, obviously, but we talked about it. The volume was so insane in that first game. I'm really struggling to see where they make up for it in the passing game. This O-line is phenomenal. This team is built in the trenches. It's exactly what they want to do, winning or losing, which the spread's telling us they're going to be winning. I think they're going to really, really lean into Saquon, and there would be more questions. Like, I was not the highest in the world on Saquon, but he came in and what he did against the Packers, like immediately just kind of like, this is our guy. We're going to feed him the ball. Like, that inspired a lot of confidence in me. Like, because you didn't know if he was going to be a full 100%, like maybe the Saquon of the past. Those Giants years take a toll on a guy. It wasn't pretty. So I love seeing it. I think Saquon looks great. I see no reason why he's not running the ball 25 times today. So if he's going to run the ball 25 times, my biggest concern is he does an Alvin Kamara and has like a 57-yard catch. You know what I mean? And he screws me on one of those. But I think the volume is just too good to ignore. Had to pull the trigger on some long shots with Saquon. I think he absolutely crushes on the ground. I think both running backs do. I also did a little sprinkle at 15-1 on Saquon 100 and Bijan 100, just going back-to-back of both running backs. Obviously, the Bijan side is going to be a little trickier with that Eagles defensive front, but you have to remember, look how immobile Kirk Cousins was last week. Look how ugly that offense. I think they have to give Bijan a lot, and Bijan was an insane workhorse. Tyler Algier only touched the ball twice. So Bijan.
Thank you. Fuck Arthur Smith, bro.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Finally put an end to that stupid split backfield. Both of these guys were elite workhorses in week 1. So 15-1, both guys to get 100 yards. I think you can do a little worse than that as well.
I kind of like Bijan. I'm going to probably do a little bit more on the receiving end there. So rushing receiving lines are, pretty crazy right now. I mean, what is the rushing receiving line straight for Saquon?
Let's see. I can pull it up. Rushing plus receiving right now, we're looking at 95.5 on
Saquon?
Yeah, on 365, and then 98.5 on DraftKings.
What's Bijan?
Sorry.
He's got to be right there, right?
Yeah, Bijan is 99.5.
I was gonna say, dude, I almost kind of like Bijan long shots today too. Like,
yeah. The rushing plus receiving is smart too, because you avoid, possibly that D line, but it's tough to get long shots when the line is so high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'd have to literally probably 120 is not even over plus 200. Probably it's probably like 210.
Yeah, it's plus 215 for 125.
Yeah, it's not even worth it, bro.
Yeah,
not even worth it. At least Saquon, like the catching upside is not as high as Bijan, so it's like you're going to be, probably a little bit more opt to be hitting the number on the rushing yard, so you can pick that one. But yeah, I have a feeling it could be either way for Bijan today, because Josh Jacobs started wearing that team down. I don't know if you saw the second half of that Packers game, but they killed Jacobs in the first half, and then Jacobs is there. All right, well, just give me another 10, and then he ends up going like eight yards a pop in the second half. So at that point, you got to just hope that they're still in the game, So you got to hope that, but. They're giving a close spread. Stu, before you head out, let's get it. I saw somebody asking over under 45.5 is the total. Would you lean over or under in this spot, or would you lean more towards the 5.5 that you could get on the Falcons at plus 5?
Yeah, I'm glad. I was going to say we didn't get to do this today. I would lean the under, and I would lean to the Falcons as well. I see a lot of inconsistency, and I see a lot of opportunity for both of these two teams to suck. Like, in my mind, I so visually see both of these guys sucking tonight. So in the end, I think the Eagles can win it with their rushing game alone. I think they can control it enough where, like, a mobile Kirk Cousins who can't seemingly move at all in the pocket and has to run the most basic offense over. Like, I don't think they can beat them, but I think they can cover. I think they can make it annoying. I think they can make it ugly, because the Eagles, they also got a lot of problems on their own end as well. No A.J. Brown, now going to be even more condensed on the offensive side. Like, I just think this profiles to me as like, kind of an ugly, lower scoring game. So I like the under and I like the dog. But you need that 6. 5.5 is... You need that 6. Like, you need, even if you're, I don't want to suggest buying points, but like there were 6s out there. So if you're missing 6, probably don't take it. But if it gets back to 6, that's what I would say. I see more value on that side.
All right, one last fun one before we head out, because obviously we don't want to be too long on your show on Monday. But going over the DraftKings here, this will be a fun one. Who do you think has more passing yards tonight, Kirk Cousins or Jalen Hurts?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I guess I think it's Kirk Cousins, just because. I think Bijan probably gets you like, a nice little 40 himself over there. Drake London maybe a little more involved. That's ugly, though. That's a tough one.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I looked at the number, and obviously you're down A.J. Brown, but they have Jalen Hurts 5 yards higher than Kirk Cousins, 223 to 228. And I kind of thought it'd be a different way there. Because, I mean, you saw Jordan Love when the Packers were down just kind of chuck it around in that second half and get you to the number. Obviously got hurt on that last drive. But I don't know, man. It kind of feels like you can bet those. You can bet head-to-heads. And you're getting Kirk Cousins at like plus 110. Kind of almost would do that rather than that because I do like your look on the rushing upside there for Mr. Jalen Hurts because you ain't running. You ain't running Kirk Cousins out there today. You ain't running a ball past 1 foot.
Yeah, I mean, even to get to that 230 mark for Hurts, right? For me, what I'm thinking, let's say you get 100 from Devonta Smith. He goes way over his yards. Then you get Saquon.
I don't even think he's going to do that well.
Exactly. I don't think as much either. Exactly. But now Saquon as well, another good game. He gives you 30 on the ground or in the air. Both of them go over their numbers. That's 130 passing yards. Who's giving you that other 100? Goddard, maybe another 30 to 50, right? Maybe he gets you up to 50. Who's getting you that other, like, Jahan Dotson, really? He's been really bad, guys. Like, it's been really bad with Washington, and he doesn't know he's been here for a couple weeks as well. So him and then rookie. Like, I don't know. To me, like, in my head, maybe Hurts under is another, something I should look at a little closer too, especially if, obviously we're confident in the rushing game, but yeah, it's hard to see, with the lack of depth, even if they had a guy like Zacchaeus from before, or like one of these Van Jefferson types that just pops up on a new team every year, at least we know those guys can get like 40 yards in an NFL game. You know what I mean? 50 yards. Like this team, they need someone like that. Paris Campbell, where's he at? Wasn't he on this team like a year and a half ago before he inevitably tears his ACL every season? I don't know. Like they need another guy, and they need it pretty bad.
Yeah, and last thing before we head out, Bryce Young officially benched this week.
Really?
Yeah, Andy Dalton will be starting next game.
No, I wanted to bet longest completion under, thinking that Dalton was going to do it mid-game. That's ruining my news. Oh, my God.
Well, Stu, what do you got for the people before we head out?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's not much of a shocker to anyone that's watched those guys play. I guess I'll say rest in peace to a pass the prop legend, Bryce Young. We cashed your under longest completion like 3 times on the show last year. It was really easy. It was great. That was fun. I'm going to miss you, buddy. Hopefully you get a second chance in the Canadian Football League or something. Maybe I'll bet some CFL. So great show today. I really enjoyed the picks. I feel really good about tonight's game. I've got this one, and then I've also got 2 other props already locked and loaded in the 4for4 Discord. If you want access to all my plays, go check out the link in my pinned tweet or message me or whatever. We got some good discount codes. So check out 4for4, cash in some winners, 3 plays tonight, but we locked in my favorite on the show. Very fired up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, hope to see you again on Wednesday. Obviously, heading in for the worst Thursday night football game of the season. We'll be back for it and hopefully have some other stuff to talk about too. Because God, that's gonna be gross. So thank you guys. Best of luck tonight on all your bets, and we will catch you guys again on Wednesday. Have a good one, guys.